3, 2. You know what we should do when we enter this episode? We should literally punch on like Tuchel and Conte. I literally watched that video this morning and just like...
Look me in the eyes. Look me in the eyes.
It was pretty awkward. Like I actually enjoyed watching it this morning because one thing it reminded me of is why I love football so much.
Oh, mate.
It fired me up. Like even watching the highlights with you before, something about the atmosphere of the game was like, it's almost been missing in football.
Yeah, it's funny, right? Because you look at... There's so many games that every game, right? Everyone overanalyzes and looks at it from like a technical perspective, or this team played shit. You come into this game and you're like, oh my god, this is pure entertainment on every single level. As a Chelsea supporter too, I was a bit frustrated, because of the result, and it probably should have gone our way, but I had to sit there as a football fan, and I'm like, this is beautiful.
It's just like the atmosphere when you watch it. It almost pumps you up to watch more. You're like, like I'm going to say it. I'm a United fan, and watching the game was horrible. There's no energy. Not complaining about the players or just the thing. There wasn't that sort of atmosphere that, like on Brentfordton, it was amazing for them.
Yeah,
but when you watch other leagues around the world, like Serie A, who were watching the highlights before for Inter Milan, like it's just an atmosphere that's missing in British football. Would you say?
I think it depends. I think it's game by game, like or at least maybe club by club. I think that, and United, obviously you watch a lot of United games being a United fan. I think you're probably seeing an atmosphere that's not normal for the club at the moment. You probably haven't experienced anything big since maybe 10 years ago. So, the atmosphere would have been there, like especially these seasons.
We won the Europa League.
Yeah, correct.
But I don't get that excitement watching the game. You get me? Like you sit there and it's like, cool football, no worries. But I don't know, something about the Spurs and Chelsea game. It just felt like everything was on the line. Yeah. Even watching the highlights, like it just felt like an amphitheater. Which I know a lot of people say Old Trafford was the theatre of dreams, and it still is. But it's not like, I just don't think there's the energy there. I don't think the fans give what the players need.
Yeah, I think being successful and maybe even just having promise as well. Like United's in a very different situation to what Tottenham and Chelsea are in. Like Chelsea's had some recent success with the Champions League a couple of years ago. Their squad's still fairly similar to what it was then, and I think that there's a lot of ambition within the supporting group, even the players and staff. Tottenham's just gone off a massive transfer window. They look promising. They look like a very good squad.
London have been notified as or mentioned as.
Yeah, that's quite fairly true. And I think it's just because these clubs see a lot of optimism in their mentality. I guess even from across the board, from fans through to team. I think United's in a position where. Maybe pre-round one, or before the result of the Brighton game. Was Brighton?
Yeah. Brentford.
Brighton round one. Yeah. I think it would have been that hype that you're talking about, that you feel that energy. Yeah. And I think you're missing that now because you've had two results where you probably should have, or where every United fan expected to get something. So I think that's where it is. And just winding back to the Chelsea-Tottenham game, oh my God, I can't even express how good it is. If you're just, if you're a neutral, go and watch the mini match or the mega mini. Yeah. And you'll just sit there and appreciate good football for one. And secondly, just pure entertainment.
Should we stay on the topic of the Premier League, or should we go on to our topics? I know we've just mentioned that sort of stuff. First of all, if you're listening to this on Spotify today, I'm wearing a Celtic kit. I think, what year was this? I know Decanio generation.
94?
I literally had it. Yeah, I think it was around that. I always think about 96 as the year that I always go for.
You could be right, actually.
Is it 96?
It's around there, yeah. It's mid to early 90s.
I know yesterday at the pop-up, we'll speak about that towards the end, but a gentleman came up to me and he's like, oh, I love that jersey. I wasn't trying my Scottish accent, but I really stumbled on a terrible one. It almost sounded like it was German, maybe a bit of a gypsy.
I love that. Like, when you try and impersonate or put on an accent.
Arnold Schwarzenegger is the best one.
Yeah, correct. And you do it, and then in your head it sounds good. But on execution, like my wife says to me all the time, that didn't sound, Kiwi or or English. She's like, you sounded Indian. I'm like, this is not good.
Yeah, I know. Accent's always hard.
Oh my God.
But today, I'm wearing the nice, beautiful Celtic CR Smith. I'm trying to describe it. It's got a beautiful detailing within the green. I think it's sort of similar to what we're seeing in this season's kit, where it's got a bit of detailing within the shirt. What do you have on? Tell the people listening.
Oh, early 90s. I can't remember the actual year. I'm going to say 92, but I can't remember. I've got there's a Mancini. I picked this up probably a couple of months back. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it on the camera.
Nice.
Yeah, so obviously Sampdoria supporter, I really should pay attention to what year I've got. I'm actually at a point now where I've got that many kids. It's getting a bit
Don't
ridiculous.
worry, I do the same thing. And people always, someone recently put me on Reddit, and one of my videos was on Reddit, and like this guy always talks about shirts but never knows the year. It's like, how do I remember the years? Like, you know, we got to remember like wedding dates, the date that you proposed, the date that you asked them to be your girlfriend, the date that your child was born, which is easy because it's like, you know, it's in your diary.
Yeah.
But like, it's like, how do I remember the dates of births, let alone the dates of jerseys? I know,
that's so
some
true.
shirts you may remember, the iconic like footballing moments.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always, would you agree?
Oh, 100%. Like, you know, I sit there obviously with PFC running most of the week, going back, researching, and I go through so many kids. I start to cross paths and I'm like, wait, was that 06, 08, 08
When you
to
see
10?
a template, you remember it.
Yeah, occasionally. Like the team guys, for example, right?
Yeah.
Adidas, right? It's probably like an easier one to
The
recognize.
total 91s when, you know,
Yeah, you know, that's like
internationally all the way-
04-ish. Like, yeah. And that's the thing, right? I always end up doing that. And then I'm like, we come to here and I've prepped all this for this episode and I'm like, all I'm thinking about is the topics that we're going. And then you throw that curveball at me. I'm like, oh man, this is my thing. I should know this.
Well, the other day, someone said to me, apparently football jerseys aren't normal clothes. So apparently I need to wear more normal clothes.
Wow.
And that's my subject for the day. And make sure you comment in either Instagram if this goes on Instagram or on YouTube or on Twitter. Would you say that football jerseys are part of normal fashion?
Surely, like, man, you have to. I feel like I see so many people, maybe because it's the circles we're in, wearing them day to day.
Yeah, 100%. It's a part of the religious sort of cult value in a sense of football jersey. I know in the UK you see them everywhere. You just wouldn't wear a Chelsea shirt in London if it's like a Tottenham game day against Arsenal, or you wouldn't wear a City you wouldn't wear a Rangers in the Celtic territory. That's the same.
Yeah, correct.
Or Boca in River territory.
We're blessed that we're in Australia, right? So that sort of tension. That tension's not there here. Like people might look at you, might make a comment or whatever, but there's not going to be a brawl.
You and I would if you see someone in an Arsenal shirt. Or yesterday, I was giving shit to everyone that was wearing Liverpool, and they're like, "Mate, you're a United supporter." I'm like, "Yeah, sorry." Yeah. But that's the banter, and I think that's the best thing about wearing this shirt. Or shirts in general.
Well, a guy actually came through the pop-up yesterday, and he bought 2 United shirts, but he was wearing a Dortmund kit. Yeah. And I just sort of looked up at him, and I'm like, you're struggling, aren't you? He's like, yeah, I couldn't bring myself to wear the kit this morning.
I didn't wear a United shirt. It hurts. But I love wearing it. And I just noticed we're both wearing Air Force Ones. A great kit to go with any shirt.
Yeah, it's good.
Like, I just love matching football shirts with fashionable items. And I know you and I, every time we go with our partners now with the kids, we haven't done one actually.
Yeah, we should do one soon, yeah.
We wear football jerseys because we love it. And our mate Chris does it as well. Actually, that one day we went to the Mexican place. He didn't wear a jersey, did he?
Yeah, we did. But we tried to tee it up.
You and I did. And he just rocked that guy. Shout out to Chris.
But look, we are working at Ultra Football. Obviously, Ultra FM, we're running this podcast through. And 99% of the staff here are always wearing football shirts. So it's probably only like a 1%.
To buy football shirts. So it's one of those things.
It's such a cool thing.
Conversation starter.
Yeah.
It's like sneakers. You're proud to wear them.
Yeah.
But one thing that I think football has always spoken about, that's always on our topics, and we mentioned it the last episode. What happened?
Wow. Aaron Ramsey. We spoke briefly about his transfer to Nice, and we thought, he was great, amazing. We tapped into every time he scores a goal, someone passes away. And we dug a little deeper because he obviously scored this week or on the weekend gone by, and we had to look at some of the relations between who has passed away when he scored. The most recent one being Olivia Newton-John, which was obviously tragic, but we were sort of like, no, this curse can't be real. I know he's come out in the press saying that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
But he scored.
It goes back so many years. I could not believe there was like not Joe Biden. Oh my God, Joe Biden's still alive. Steve Jobs. I don't know why I crossed those two over.
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs. There was
Osama.
I think it was. Was it Bin Laden?
Yeah.
Yeah. There was another terror-related.
Just more like in general.
Personality. Yeah.
There was a few actors, but like, so he scored on the 7th, and then Olivia passed away on the 8th.
Yeah.
I know time differences might be too, but that we mentioned that if he scores, is the curse going to happen? I'm not sure if he scored at Rangers, and if he did, the conversation probably would. But this hasn't gone viral, and I just wanted to put this to the topic today.
Yeah.
He scores, she passes away. I know people pass away every day,
but
iconic people that we know of. Do you think the curse is real, or do you think it's just a massive coincidence that he always scores on the same weekend as someone iconic passes away?
I don't even think it's a massive coincidence. I think it was like someone was clutching at making some sort of viral story, because I actually looked at the list of people that had passed away after he'd scored, and like if there's 10 people on that list, like 5 of them are probably unknown to most people.
Yeah.
So like they are, they might be a B or C grade celebrity if you had to grade them, I guess. I think they're clutching. Like, I don't think it's actually serious. And I'm sure, like, imagine, I don't know, someone that prolific, like Harry Kane, right? Imagine every time Harry Kane scores, they look, oh, who died the next day?
Yeah.
I guarantee you, he's scoring 30-something goals a year. Messi, Ronaldo, like, of course that's going to happen, but it's just the fact that it's, he scores 10 to 15 goals a season versus 40.
He did score once, Aaron Ramsey, and I think people were like posting saying, "Oh my God, who's going to die tomorrow?" And someone actually died the next day, like someone iconic, prolific, and that was the thing. I think that's where it sort of gained a bit of momentum, and people were like, "Okay, Aaron Ramsey, this is real," and that's when he did that press conference. But look, rest in peace to the living in God. But Ramsey, yeah, he's got his time in France, and the one team like we spoke about before, United, 4-0 to Brentford.
Wow.
It was pretty annoying for me. I woke up, watched the first half, went to bed, didn't wake up again. Really sad.
I think
I did wake up, but technically didn't wake up.
You and a lot of United fans, I think, were in the same boat. I think after the first, what was it, 35 minutes? Yeah. Wow. To be 4-0 down, and I think, 3 mistakes, really? Like, playing out of the back.
Yeah.
There's obviously the De Gea error. The header by Ben Mee, it is what it is. Like, that's kind of, that can happen to any team on any day, right? Like, you look at Chelsea this morning, that same thing happened when Harry Kane scored in the last minute.
I just don't understand. Like, I know Martinez? No. What's Henan? What's that? Oh, I always get his name. Is Martinez?
Yeah, the centre-back.
The centre-back.
Yeah.
I know I got it wrong in the first podcast.
They came from Ajax with Ten Hag.
Yeah, he was the player of the season for him at Ajax.
Yep.
He came to United, came to the Prem. He's a bit small. I think he's one of the smallest centre-backs in football at the moment.
Yeah.
He's a tenacious player. He's got that South American bloodline in a sense of like always fighting. Like a Carlos Tevez. He loves to get into the thing.
Yeah, he's hungry.
But he got bullied and he got taken off at halftime, got swapped for Varane. Again, I know a lot of people are having a go at Ten Hag, having a go at the players, having a go at the fans, at the club, the Glazers. I just think it's just football. I just think the team at the moment, there's just no stability. They had players like Eriksen, and they had players like what's his name next to him, Fernandes, with Fred as the muscle.
Yep.
I just don't see that as a trio.
The dynamic doesn't seem to be right there.
There's a lot of chaos, and I think anyone could have been the coach and anyone could have gotten the blame. But it's not looking good for United.
I think, look, that midfield is problematic. You look at like big successful midfields over time, and you don't have to go too far back. And I know I refer back to Chelsea a lot because I watch a lot of Chelsea football. But you say like Jorginho, Kante, Mason Mount, right? Like there's a good balance there. You've got your creative flair, you've got your midfield sort of maestro, the tempo control one, and then you've got someone that can retain the ball. So I think you need that balance. If you're playing a 3-man midfield, like you need to have that in your squad. Obviously, you need more depth than that as well. There's so many other variables.
But the biggest issue over the time was centre-backs. And now we have so many of them.
And now and they're all underperforming.
Varane, amazing footballer at Real Madrid. Now what?
Has turned to
Eric Bailly was meant to leave, hasn't left. Played an amazing pre-season.
Yeah.
What's happened to him? We've got Maguire, again, gets booed a lot, gets hated on, but he still performs. We buy a new player, Martinez, too small apparently. And then we've got the Swedish guy, Lindelof.
Yep.
Again, another footballer who's amazing, but doesn't gel with his whole crew. Phil Jones is still there. Like, we've got so many centre-backs, yet we're always pointing the finger at someone else.
Do you think that United fans and maybe the media as a whole need to be patient with Ten Hag and give him time to let this team grow?
The same thing for Solskjaer. Mm-hmm. Again, we gave him time, but then the media just went against it. The whole Ollie at the wheel has become a meme.
Well, aside from the Europa League, I think looking back, it's funny, right? You look back and you think he was really bad. He copped all this turmoil because they were underperforming. But then there was a season where they finished second. And you're like, well, hang on a second. Was he really that bad? Or is the expectation of being a United manager that we have to be first? I know Hernandez tapped on this at LA Galaxy in that presser that everyone needs to get over the fact that
not going to have that.
Fergie's not there anymore. Yeah, and this is a new era. This is a new team, new staff. Everything is new, and we need to sort of not let go of the past, appreciate how good it was, but know that this is different. This is not that. We need to create something new, a new legacy.
100%. Look, we won't talk too much about United. Everyone talks about them every day. It's going to be a scary time. We've got Liverpool this weekend, then we've got Man City after that. So
good luck.
Let's just say this to United fans. Do not wake up for the game. Do not watch the game. And just hide for the next couple of weeks.
Good luck. Stick your head in the ground.
Literally. I honestly, it's going to be a tough couple of weeks for me. Luckily, there's always a brighter side to football.
Yes.
This morning, we saw Tuchel in Conte, like we mentioned at the start.
Yes.
Again, I have to mention it. It's something I love. I love seeing that. I love seeing coaches throw their sort of selves into the game. I love seeing them imprint their sort of DNA to the team.
Yeah.
When you see players going with the coach. I love that. I love when players play for the coach.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful thing to see, especially, there's so much pressure on the players on the pitch. And I think the coaches, from a tactical sense, are always going to have their part to play. But when they start doing things like this, it starts to become a bit of a flex. And they almost it's almost their way to have like a physical presence on the pitch without actually being on the pitch. And I know there was a lot of, controversial decisions and stuff, which...
Yeah, we saw the hair pull on Cucurella.
Yeah, there was the hair pull. There was the tackle on Kai Havertz, which ended up being a great tackle if you look at it on replay. But obviously in person, you're not going to see a small touch on the ball. But great refereeing decision at the end of the day. I think it added so much tension to the game, which it was already, every single time Chelsea play Tottenham, the derby is always massive.
Yeah,
it is.
I loved it. The energy was great. I think any Chelsea or Spurs fan would love that. The fact that Kane scored the last minute, a player who's got a lot of pressure on him, World Cup coming up, scoring that goal, even deflecting off Reece James, who scored the previous goal, who was meant to be technically the winner for Chelsea.
Yeah.
It was just a fiery game. And to see the whole handshake moment, even prior to that, Tuchel running up and down, I love that. I love football. I love the fact that, coaches still have that mentality of, I'm putting myself on the line here.
Yeah.
And that's just something football needs. I just love the difference between our game and many other games out there. You see that in basketball where the teams huddle up and punch on with other teams. Yeah. I'm not saying more so punch on, but almost representing the shirt and making the fans be like, if that person's playing for my shirt, then I want to support
have some
them.
Pride in like where you are, who you belong to, all that sort of stuff.
You see in other you see it in other not other codes, but other leagues across the world. Like you'd see it in Germany, you see it in the Balkans, like Serbia or all the smaller leagues. But I don't know, the Premier League. There's been a lot of coaches like that.
Of course.
Mourinho for one.
Oh, he was the epitome of, being like a
He's
boisterous...
one of the first outspoken ones.
Yeah. Well, remember his Champions League slide on the floor?
Yeah.
That was, he was another level altogether.
No one will forget Van Gaal at United when he fell over.
that had to be one of my favorite antics of all time from a coach. I think that and possibly the Mexico coach that I think it was the 2010 World Cup. Yeah. If you haven't, go check him out. He was absolutely hilarious.
That's what I mean. Like that's the best part about watching
beautiful.
your team too. You want to see the coach being a coach.
Correct.
The biggest sook of all time.
Which?
Who would you think I'm going to say?
Biggest sook.
Come on, I'm a United fan. Who do I hate the most?
Pep. No, who would be the biggest sook?
Why would I hate Pep? Pep's a great coach.
He's a great coach.
I'm jealous that they've
I'm trying to think, who would be the biggest sook?
Klopp.
You think Klopp's the biggest sook?
He's the biggest sook in the world, mate.
Did you like his comment about the pitch being dry?
Oh my gosh, that guy. I'm sorry. Again, I spoke to a gentleman yesterday who's a United fan. That's why I call him a gentleman. And I said to him, what's one team you hate? He goes, Liverpool.
Yeah, of
I'm
course.
like, why?
Okay.
He goes, I don't know. Something about Liverpool. It's just, But Klopp, a great coach, Dortmund, now over to Liverpool. Who knows where he goes after that?
Yeah.
But, this guy is just, he gets under my skin. That's what I love about him. He's just, he's smirky, those smiles, and they're sort of pumping up the fans. You love that.
Oh my God.
You love that. And it gives me chills to think about how it would be to be in the coach's position, to go up to fans and be like, yes. And people going, yes, this is...
he's our guy. He's our leader. This is the
fans
best.
have that guy.
Yeah. Which, you know what? So I was thinking about the whole dry pitch situation. They drew with Fulham, right? They drew with Fulham. And instantly after the game, the commentary is sort of talking about how average Liverpool were and how good Fulham were. And
the two
Klopp, Klopp walked straight into the presser and made the whole result about him. And I'm just thinking, I'm sitting there going, this guy is an absolute genius. He has alleviated all this pressure off his entire squad and made it about him by saying the dumbest thing that no one's going to care about in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, exactly.
How brilliant.
Smart.
I think I remember Arsene Wenger doing a lot during his early days at Arsenal. I think I mentioned last week about that the podcast I listened to talking about the rivalry between United and Arsenal, and Ferguson and Wenger, and they talk about how those two managers had the ability to get a lot out of their players, but also had the ability to alleviate that pressure when things didn't go right, and they just changed the entire narrative in a press conference. And I think that's what Klopp's done here, and I think it was absolutely brilliant.
There was a recent coach who was asked about questions for transfers, and he's just pushing it away. And I think it was Arteta. It was the whole Obama Yang. I was watching it. It wasn't recent, but it was actually, I told you to watch the All or Nothing.
Yeah.
If you haven't checked it out, by far one of my favourite docos so far. I wouldn't say it's as good as the Sunderland Till I Die because everyone hates Sunderland, but I think Sunderland Till I Die was the start of the football docos.
Yeah.
Hopefully with the Sydney FC one, I can't wait for that on Paramount.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I think that'd be good.
It's going to be funny because there was 3 weeks in a row they lost 3 to 4-0. So I can't wait to see them get trashed. I hate Sydney FC more than I do.
Is it going to be called All or Nothing as well? Or is it going to be its own?
I don't know. Maybe
thing?
it's, you know what? All or Nothing might be a series for the future. I don't mind that. But then again, that was Prime. This is Paramount. So
I feel like the name All or Nothing is so bad.
I don't think it is, but yeah.
I feel like the name needs to be changed because, okay, perfect circumstance, it worked well for Sunderland because they ended up getting promoted, I think.
No, that's Sunderland Till I Die.
Sorry, Sunderland Till I Die.
Yeah.
What was the other All or Nothing?
I think it was just their one.
Was it City?
No.
Cities was their own game.
Was
I can't
it?
remember.
I
There was
can't
one.
remember.
Okay, and regardless of what it was, the All or Nothing, it gives you the interpretation that they have to give everything
Yeah, or
and get a result.
Yeah.
And so that means at the end of the series or the end of whatever it is, you're expecting them to either win the league or win a trophy or something. You can't go and just come sixth or seventh. They're like, oh, we gave everything and came sixth or seventh. Like, that's anticlimactic for sure. Like, that's literally just nothing. It's not all.
I love that A-League meme, guys, when they make all the sort of versions of every other team.
Yeah.
It's like, it's perfect. We've got to think about a few in the future, but
Yeah.
you definitely have to watch. There was an episode where I think Aubameyang just went over to Barca without their approval.
Yeah.
And there's this whole antics of like watching the coach and the agents and everyone talking about like, why has he gone there? And then the next interview at the game day, they're like, what's happened to this? And he's like, don't ask me about this. Ask me about that. And I think that's the best thing about coaches when how they got all this pressure and you see behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Definitely check that episode out. But we'll move on to where Conte did coach over in Italy. So we had a few results, but the two I want to speak about, of course, being Inter fan, Milan Udinese 4-2, and then Inter 2-1 with Lecce.
Yeah.
Overall, I think it's going to be a massive Serie A.
Oh, it's going to be such a tight season.
I reckon it's going to be one of the biggest Serie A seasons.
Yeah.
Not only because of the transfers, but I think people are sort of seeking to other inputs and outputs of football because I think the Premier League, as much as it's entertaining, I think people are finally exploring options. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think so. I think Serie A is slowly regaining that.
It
I don't know,
was
maybe
the best in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, correct. And I think even up until like the early 2000s, it still had that respect from a lot of viewers and football fans outside of Italy. And I think now it's starting to regain that. Maybe the inclusions of people like Mourinho, you throw a Tammy Abraham that gets that UK audience as well.
Yep.
Big names like Dybala obviously moving around help too. A bit of success success a few years back on the international front helps pump up the the whole country in general. But I think like if you just look at AC Milan, Inter Milan, Roma, and Juventus, you can't write off ever. The first three that I mentioned, their squads look great.
Oh, man.
Milan's going to try and go back for the double. They've improved their squad a little bit, which is great. Inter, obviously, you can't write off ever. Lukaku's back. That might work for them again.
Barella,
Might be
Skriniar,
jacked.
Good squad.
Massive squad.
Lost a few players, but still.
And then Roma probably were the more impressive of the transfer window.
No, transfer window, mate.
And you throw in Mourinho into the mix, a bit of a mastermind.
Yeah,
I think they've got something. Like, if you look at I think they won their first 4 games last season, and the football they were playing was out of this world. Absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Tammy Abraham looked like Alan Shearer. Like, it was that level of good.
He's done well.
But they dwindled off after that, and I think there was a bit of a, probably a lackluster kind of middle part of the season.
It's funny because then you look at Napoli and Lazio, still one of the top 5
always,
teams,
yeah.
but they just haven't done really well in the team transfer. They've lost lots of players.
Yeah, they did. Obviously, losing Koulibaly was a big one. Losing Insigne is another one.
Mertens has moved over to Galatasaray on a free.
Yeah.
Have you checked out their transfers recently?
No.
I was watching this TikTok the other day. They've made like an amount of transfers, but they signed almost like they got Mertens for free. But all the transfers, they literally like saved like 2 to 8 million per player.
It's good business.
They got like great business. But the Turkish league, I think we're going to talk about in the next episode. They've done some amazing transfers. Like 2 Massos have gone over there. I think Alioski's gone over to Fenerbahce, and Enes Badi's left Levante and he's gone to Trabzonspor.
Yep.
Turkish league again, another league we're going to check out. But
give some more attention to.
Definitely next week we'll look at that.
Yeah.
Milan 4-2, Inter 2-1. We saw the highlights. Who do you think's got a bit more energy in them?
I think I still like Milan. I think AC Milan. I think they look like a more complete squad. I think they're still riding a bit of a high from last season too. So I think that they look like they've got a good balance. Great performance, small comeback as well, which is cool. And it was a pretty exciting game for them. I think they still might have the edge on Inter, but it's still going to be so close and so hard to tell.
Who knows? I think Inter definitely played well. I watched the game. Lukaku, scores on his return. He's just a beast. I love that guy. I'm hoping like the blood between the fans and him reignites him and they get back on him.
Yeah, hopefully.
If he leaves Inter in the future, hopefully he's over to Bayern Munich or maybe one of the Reals or Barca's. I can see him at Real. I just feel like he can be someone that can just stand there and tap in.
I feel like he's going to be an MLS guy next.
You reckon?
Yeah,
he's still young, man.
I know he's still very young, but I think he's
I wouldn't waste my career. I'd go and play 1 season, 2 seasons in La Liga.
You look at guys like Insigne and who was the other Italian that went to Montreal? Yeah, Bernardeschi, yeah. They're still, I think they were like 29, 30 at most.
What age is now in football? What age is too old?
Well, surely if you're thinking prime can be anywhere from like, 24 to
hard.
like 30, I guess, depending on sort of the type of player.
But so many footballers these days compared to back in the days, like anyone can be replaced now.
Oh, completely.
Like look at Harry Winks, the player we mentioned a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
Who was like meant to be the next young kid. And even Eric Dyer, they've just fallen off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
Again, replaced easily.
Yeah, it's a funny one. I don't know. Like, I think...
Just look at United, how many players they've replaced. Pro
football is... Like, it's cutthroat, right? Like, you have to perform and you have to be at that level. Otherwise, you're going to just get replaced by the next best kid.
Early 90s where... I'm sure there's a lot of kids... Like, I'm watching some of the old highlights from United and see some of the players that were, like, meant to be the prospect during the 92 generation, but never made it. And now they've just gone on and lived their normal life.
Yeah.
But then you see the players that did make it and the squad that United had with all the kids... It's just crazy how football now just full circle.
It's high turnover, yeah, completely.
Yeah.
Like, and I think looking at United is probably a perfect example. That this whole expectation with Ten Hag and the squad that you've currently got, everyone's losing their minds because they're not getting instant success.
Yeah.
So, and that's the mentality that a lot of fans and a lot of football media publication companies have.
Moving over to another side of the world, we've got Bayern Munich 2-0. Who did they play?
Wolfsburg.
Yeah, and then we've got Barca who drew 0-0 with Rayo Vallecano.
Yeah.
Quick stat for you. Barca played the first time since COVID a full house.
Yeah, wow.
And didn't entertain their fans.
I wonder how that came about. Like, I know obviously it's Barcelona and I know they're going to have a lot of fans, but is full house a normal capacity for Barca?
Should be.
You would think so,
Messi
right?
days was always a full house, hard to get tickets.
Of course,
I had
yeah.
mates who went to Barca pre-pandemic, and it was always hard for them to get tickets.
Yeah.
But what a squad, what a team! It's Barcelona,
Yeah.
most toxic club in the world, internally.
Internally at the moment, yeah.
And
And they've got a big problem, I think, at the moment
Yeah.
with everything that's going on. Like,
We speak about United being in a bit of a shit situation. I think Barca's in a worse
financially,
situation.
Barca's in some serious turmoil.
Can you imagine if they get relegated and like...
I don't think they'll get relegated. I saw that they did a deal with like the TV rights company where they owned the TV rights company and sold the profits and then bought them back, and it was a bit of a financial saga.
I understand that.
That was crazy. And I think over the weekend, prior to their first game, there was people saying, reports getting released that they weren't going to be able to sign or register the players that they'd signed.
Kunde and the other one, Christensen and Kisse.
Yeah, so they managed.
They haven't been able to play.
Well, I think they managed to register 4 or 5 of them. I don't know.
Lewandowski got registered.
Yeah, but I don't. There was a few that are still pending.
Can you see how stacked that squad is, though?
It's huge. Isn't it?
I'm going to mention a few players, like not even including the new ones. I'll include some, like Rafinha. You've got Kunde, you've got Lewandowski, and then you've got the other ones like Depay, De Jong. Like, just the squad. And you've got the young kids.
Yeah.
Apart from Rui Puig.
Yeah.
He's gone over to Galaxy. It's such a random thing. But, yeah, what a squad. And unfortunately, they drew 0-0. Then we got Bayern Munich.
Yeah. Good result. They seem to be ticking.
Müller just scoring.
Yeah. It's good. I'm still surprised. We mentioned about, like, when's your prime? I feel like he just makes his prime.
How old is he? Is he 15 still?
I think he's like, 47?
I don't even think he was like one of the top German players as a young kid. I think he just blossomed as an older player.
Yeah, I think he was kind of in the shadow of, I think, Miroslav Klose for a bit. Like,
yeah.
And I think once Klose's career sort of subsided, I think he was, closed off, came to an end.
As his career got closer to the end. So another football sort of great that's iconic in disguise, Aaron Moy.
Yes, the god.
You resemble with him well.
Yeah, we looked similar apart from the beard, but
and the tan.
Yeah, true.
He's the pasty pearl.
He is the pasty pearl. He good on him. Debut game this week in Scotland for him at Celtic. 5-0 win, which is massive for them. I know he came on, I think it was the 66th minute, so still got a little bit of time in there. But it's just great that he's, even if he's there for one season, I think it's great that he's got good level football just before a World Cup.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like he made his name in the Scottish football and then came back to Australia and then went overseas again with Man City's help. But again, he's a great footballer. I just hope he does well. I hope the fans get behind him. Even if he's 1 year there and he moves over to somewhere else in Scotland. But 5-0 for the Celtic, it's great.
It's a great result. Look, I think Rangers are still 3 from 3, so they're still chasing a little bit, but. Hey, look, good on him. I think it's going to be an awesome title race for the Scottish League this year.
Yeah, Hibs looking good, Hearts looking good. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like the Scottish football could be better. And I think now with more Aussies going there, a lot more people will be watching.
I hope so. I love watching Scottish football. It's great.
I love it. But I've watched some like Irish football, Welsh football over time, and I'm just like, Jesus, Australian like NPL level almost.
Oh, really? Is it that much of a drop off?
Even like the scenery. Like I know it's a big difference playing in Dublin or Cork or somewhere like that compared to like playing in Green Gully here.
Yeah, of course.
Endeavour United.
It's very community driven here, I think. It's very, very different over here compared to obviously in Europe and the rest of the world. But I guess every place is going to have their community pitches and things like that. So I guess it's just how high can your community teams go? I guess you look at like a lot of the South American countries outside of sort of your major ones, and they've all got like their college teams that they use. Like I guess in Chile is probably a good one. They got University of Chile and other clubs that run out of a school. So I guess there's a bit of probably a financial setup that way, which gives it some good foundations, but. I
reckon an episode we're going to do, I'm a huge fan of the US Second League, the USL and the ASL. I love watching the sort of conferences and all that sort of differences. And they play the MLS Cup or the American Cup, which is amazing to see, US Cup, sorry, where they see all these teams like Vermont Green playing against New York Red Bulls or something. It's just amazing to see how well formed the other countries are.
Yeah.
But I think the Scottish football definitely needs a bit of a pump up to help sort of more competition, because I always feel like even before Rangers got relegated for their financial reasons, it was just too easy for Celtic.
It seems so, but I guess there's no different really. Like, I know we can say similar about say Ligue 1 or Bundesliga, where Bayern and PSG have that.
You have that top thing, but you still have the other teams fighting. Like a couple of years ago, we looked at Hoffenheim and like, oh my god, or Hamburg, and now they've dropped.
Yeah, that's very true. But do you think the gap between Celtic, Rangers, I guess you got Hearts, Hibs, there's a few others that are sort of like there or thereabouts. But do you think the drop off is bigger than what it would be in Ligue 1?
I think major. Look, when Celtic and Rangers play in Europe, and I know upstairs Nate is a massive Rangers fan, and I always give him shit when Rangers failed last year in the finals. But like you see them playing European football, and you see how bad Celtic performed a couple of years ago. You kind of see that sort of connection. It's like, they're really bad compared to what European football should be. So I kind of wish that changes for the Scottish football. I feel like now seeing some of the other smaller teams like Hibs, or I'm not sure who I think Hibs made the European Conference League and stuff. It's good to see them, and hopefully that makes them play more. You know?
If we get more, I think if just getting more on TV over here is obviously like that'd be awesome. I know we always get the Old Firm derby televised here. Which for me, that is one game I never ever want to miss. It never fails to impress.
That's football, man.
That's football, and that's very much, to be honest, I find that and Tottenham Chelsea very very similar. There's that huge amounts of tension. There's just it's always good football, and I think the difference for me between the Chelsea Tottenham derby and Old Firm is the fact that I feel like Old Firm, they just go at 100% the entire game. Whereas I feel like the Chelsea, Tottenham, and other Premier League derbies, there's a bit of control and there's a bit of measure in it. And I feel like Old Firm is just chaos. Permanent chaos.
You're scaring me now because you literally mentioned derby and I realised we've got Liverpool and Man City next.
That's going to be big.
I'm shitting bricks.
Do you have Man City the week after?
Yeah.
Oh, United is going to be in a tough place in 3 weeks' time. If you lose both of those games, does Ten Hag still have a job?
Oh, mate, I don't think the club should sack him at all. No. Like, not this season, 2 seasons. I just let the club play. Like, let him mix and match and let him, like, finally form something. DNA at least. Because, like, you're talking about playing 100% in the Old Firm derby.
Yeah.
There's 2 games coming up. We've lost against Brighton and Brentford. And I'm scared. And I'm not excited for the derby.
I'd be scared as well. Like, imagine being a player of that squad where you're going,
I've witnessed us get fumbled, Salah, and now the Haaland there. It's just scary times.
I think it was Ten Hag came out after the Brentford game, and the commentator or the interviewer asked him about the previous 2 games, the ones that are upcoming, and the way he kind of articulated his answer I thought was really interesting, because he said, basically, more or less, that they should have got a result the first 2 games, but then quickly killed his answer there and didn't mention the future ones. And to me, that says he's not, like, I wouldn't be either, but he's not confident about going into Liverpool next week.
I wouldn't be as well. I know we've probably spoken more than half an hour, so we're going to try and cut this off soon. We've got 2 more topics. Okay, so we'll talk about the pop-up after this, but we've got a current sponsor that's taking over the world. And I'm sure everyone has seen it. It's Kazoo. It's a British company for retailing, car retailer. Would you say it's like car sales in Australia?
Sort of. I think it's more like car sales obviously has that great online presence, but they also have like an in-person kind of component too, where they link up dealerships and I think it's probably similar to, I don't think it's been around for as long. Cars 24, I think, is like a thing here where it's strictly online.
Yeah.
From my understanding, Kazoo is operating that way. Obviously, it's UK based, so I'm not 100% certain on that.
UK based, but global.
Well, yes, yeah,
or
based,
European,
yeah, correct. Well, obviously, you're looking at Valencia kit behind us and Marseille. They're obviously Spain and France, so they're obviously getting very big.
All over the Premier League. This season alone, they have received... So they were funded in 2018, but this season alone, they are now sponsoring Marseille, Valencia, Freiburg, Lille, Bologna, and Real Sociedad. We do have the kids here today, except for, I think, 2. But that is amazing to see these guys just take over.
Yeah.
I know we've got 2 shirts here. Now, there's one that you wanted to talk about, and then there's one that I want to talk about. And, of course, the 2 behind us. I'm sure you can see in the shot. Now... When it comes to adding a sponsor to the shirt, there's been smart ways of adding it.
Oh, great.
There's been bad ways of doing it. We've seen many examples, but you've got one there.
Yes. So I loved this kit when it was released. So Real Sociedad, for those listening on Spotify or podcast, great kit, but they just missed the mark with the sponsor.
Yeah.
And what frustrates me the most is that every single other sponsor in the 4 shirts that we've got here have not gone with the slapped-on patch. They've quite literally gone with their logo. What did I say? Did I say something?
No, I just noticed something in the sponsor. You're going to freak out.
And yeah, Sociedad unfortunately have gone with this box press on. And it just doesn't do it justice. If it was quite literally just inverted to white, I don't know. I guess the challenge is that they've used a blue. Maybe they needed to find another color that, a striped kit is obviously the challenge here. And that's probably why they've gone with the box. But it just, like, if you're looking at the Marseille shirt behind me, it is so clean. And the material does it even better because I think Puma's just done an awesome job too. Tell me what you found out.
Bro, look at the sponsor.
Kazoo.
Spell it out.
Katsuo.
Spell it out. C?
Yeah.
What's the second one?
A.
What's the A?
It's a car.
It's a car.
Yeah. Didn't notice.
I didn't notice that.
I thought you were making like a Katsuo reference.
Out. I was looking at it and I was like, the Kazoo sponsor literally has a car in the middle.
Yeah, it's smart. It's good.
No one even realized. People are like, what's a Kazoo? Why is Kazoo? Where's Kazoo from? And this whole time, there's been a car in there. It's like the Prime logo with the smile.
Yeah.
And it's is it Prime? Yeah, it's Prime with the smile on it.
Yeah.
But like that is amazing. That is so smart.
Do you think it has anything to do with like car zoo, like as in like it's a zoo of cars?
Oh my gosh. That is smart. You know what? The sponsor's not ugly. It's not a betting agency, which I love.
No, I think the logo's great.
It's got nothing to do with like Bitcoin or crypto, which it's funny because a lot of Bitcoin
always
sponsors,
financial driven.
like digital bits, not forgetting, but having been able to pay Inter Milan or Roma their recent bills. So that's going to be a new forefront for sponsors going just vanishing.
Yeah,
but that's amazing, Kazoo.
Yeah,
wow.
It's great. You know what I've just noticed too? Obviously these 3 are La Liga kits.
Yeah.
That's obviously Ligue 1, and that's the only difference between the Ligue 1 kit and the Liga ones is obviously the slogan below the logo.
Yeah, of course.
I'm assuming they'll obviously just not put their logo in French. their slogan in French.
Probably. I just probably don't have those words.
It probably doesn't translate directly the same or whatever. But
I don't think the British ones have it too. Like I think.
Yeah, I don't. Who's sponsored by Kazoo in the Prem?
Everton. I know Aston Villa was. Everton has it. I know there was the Kazoo Derby at one stage.
I wonder if they've got the.
I've seen it. I don't.
So they've just got okay.
Just
I wonder why Kazoo Spain or Kazoo ES has
but look, I think that's what you were saying. Is it's a great shirt.
Yeah, it's a beautiful kit.
They could have done it in yellow, or they could have used the brown or the red, something, or even a white, just to go with the kit. I don't know. It just makes me sad. Yeah. I know it's a bit hard with stripes. There's many teams with stripes and hoops over time that can't do sponsors as well. Like you do see with CR Smith being fit right into the hoop here.
Yeah, into the hoop. Yeah, that's perfect. I think it's just such a beautiful kit, and the sponsor just doesn't do it.
Talking about beautiful kits, we've got the new. I think it's the way strip for. What do you call it? Valencia. Yep. They've got 3 amazing kits, but their third strip, the yellow and blue, orangey yellow, blue, has the stripes as well, and the sponsor's just slapped on.
Same thing.
Hate it.
I wonder if that's the compromise that the clubs or manufacturers are making.
Do you reckon it's like a guideline for Kazoo where there has to be one color?
Possibly, yeah. Well, it's got to be legible, right? So you make it if you can't. For example, on this kit, you
can't
make it white.
And the leagues probably have rules too.
Yeah, of course.
No, in the Italian league as well with Venezia. But then again, the Sassuolo has green again.
Yeah, I think it was next year we're starting.
Oh, maybe. But what a great kit! Like
beautiful
the kit overall. Like this is what I say. If the shirt's nice without a sponsor, it's a great shirt. But if
Yeah.
the shirt looks a lot better with the sponsor, that's a 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, correct.
This is a 10 out of 10 shirt.
I wish they'd carried on the pattern through the back on the through the front of the shirt on the back too. I think that would have been cool because you can see it stops after the shoulder panels and doesn't carry onto the sleeves either.
I think that's just again the regulations for the league. I think they would probably have to keep it clean in numbers. But that's amazing.
Beautiful
You know what?
shirt.
I wish we do number sets, name sets here. And
You
numbers.
can. What would you get?
What's his name? Solar.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah, great player.
Yeah, very cool.
I'm sad about Ferran Torres, but it is what it is. Oh, he's at Barcelona. I just forgot about that. He hasn't even been mentioned once.
Yeah.
What the hell? But they look great shirt. Implementation of Kazoo is great, and I think Kazoo's done amazing to be remembered forever.
Yeah, it is.
Tops to them.
Actually, you know what? There's aside from the Sociedad, the Puma kit's are actually really nice.
Yeah.
This if you have a chance,
The implementation.
yeah, come and check out this Marseille kit in at Ultra Football because that is really really nice. The detail and the material is actually really cool.
I do love the whole golden little badge dry cell. I know this is fan spec.
Yeah.
Player spec will be a lot better. Now, the last topic before we get to the pop-up is about the shirts. What are two sponsors that you think that are current sponsors that will live on forever like a Sharp and all that, where it's like...
Yeah,
forever
iconic
remembered?
longevity. I think, look, the Spotify deal has to be massive for Barcelona.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be something... I've said this in the past and on previous podcasts with you that I think that it's more the success around the club that makes that iconic, right? So
Yeah.
you look, obviously, Sharp is a perfect example, right? Such a iconic period of time at the club.
Exactly.
And they were a sponsor for a long time. So I guess you
But
can
then
look
again, you look at Brother and Man
City,
City.
yeah.
They went amazing. back
No,
then.
but people like it, and I guess there's other sponsors like Doritos and Wolves. You know, maybe people don't associate that with success per se, but there's been a few other sponsors like Carlsberg that
Yeah.
that they went through a great patch and then kind of like a lull and then a great patch. So I don't know. Yeah, I think Spotify Spotify is one for me that will be remembered at least in years to come.
Yeah.
Whether it's for good, bad, or indifferent, I think that people will remember. Oh, do you remember when Barca had that absolute shit show? Spotify took over the Camp Nou and slapped their sponsor.
It looks good on it.
Yeah, I think it does. It looks great. Another one that I think would be up there. I guess. I think you mentioned today, PSG have shifted from Accor hotels to Qatar Airways. Is it? Yeah, Airways. Yeah. We saw Fly Emirates in the past do well. Maybe I guess you've got Qatar World Cup coming. That could be something.
Qatar was at Roma, but they've gone to digital bits now.
Yes. So I don't know. Like I said, if PSG can pull something and win the Champions League, maybe it might be something up there. I think they're probably my top two that are a little bit different that we haven't seen for years and years.
Yeah, ones that have just come into play.
I think in the past we'd mentioned like Uber Eats and like a few others on those lines that might have been different.
Oh, they were Uber. I just realised.
Yeah, they were Uber Eats. Yeah. I guess what would be? I know we've mentioned in the past like sponsors we would love to see. I've always loved to see like a coffee sponsor back on a kit. I think the only one I can remember is like a Regina Culture had. They had a coffee. I can't remember the name of the coffee company, but they did have a coffee company as their sponsor. I was a big fan of the beer ones. I think everyone loves the beer sponsors.
That one for
Yeah, and then you got video games. You got like Sega and stuff like that. They were epic.
You guys had Commodore.
Yeah, Commodore was good.
Chelsea, that was amazing.
Cause, I love the Chelsea Cause kits. They were awesome.
There's a lot of sponsors for me currently that I think like you look at TeamViewer for United. It's an online database thing for like Zoom meetings and stuff.
Yep.
It's horrible, but I think it's going to be forever remembered. I just don't think it's a great shirt sponsor, but it's going to be forever remembered.
Yeah.
But for me, the top two, like you said, Fly Emirates, they've been around a while. They weren't around during the previous times, but I think they're a great sponsor. It's just always on a shirt.
Yeah.
AC Milan's always the number one.
Yep.
And you've got Arsenal. And then for me, it's recent as of, I think, last season, 3 for Chelsea.
Really? You like 3 that much?
I look, it's a company that was in Australia and went bankrupt
Yes.
and went back overseas.
Yep.
But I think it's just iconic. To think that it's like this bold 3, really detailed. It looks good, and it can be written as 3 and 3. Well, United's got TeamViewer, who's got a logo and a wording.
It's too much.
Like I always
Yeah,
like
it's very
logos
busy.
where when you look at it, you don't have to say the word. You know exactly, like Nike swoosh.
Yeah. So do teams do manufacturers have to get to a point where they're successful enough to just slap their logo and not use the full brand? So I guess like I can see there's a few kits that we've got in the background of the studio here, and I can see Expedia, on a lot of them.
Yeah.
Do you think they're at a point where they could just put their logo on it, or do you need to see the name still?
Yeah, it's one of those things. I think it really depends on the company. Like I know You got Nexon Tires we've seen. We've got Visit Rwanda. I think the British have really stuffed that deal up with their refugee situation.
Yeah.
But like I think shirt sponsors, like even in the past, like we didn't have them on our shoulders. No. Again, it's going to be one of those things where clubs are going bankrupt and they're just going to accept whatever goes on the shirt.
Whatever fuel.
I remember injection. When Everton had Angry Birds.
That was so funny.
So random.
That was so funny. I feel like that was at the end of their, like Angry Birds kind of peaked at I think maybe 2010.
Yeah,
I guess. And this was probably like a 2016 sponsor. So
we're going to see that with the crypto. I think crypto sponsors are going to be on the same level of the betting agencies. People are going to start asking them to go because you're seeing all the bankruptcies and missing financial payments. So yeah, it is what it is.
I'd love to see more like sustainability based sponsorships. I think that would be cool. Like, for example, like to see Park either manufacture or sponsor a kit would be awesome.
Yeah, you got that with Forest Green Rovers and Vermont Green. They're using companies that help.
Yeah.
Even like community clubs like Red Star Paris who've got the sort of linked out, which is connecting the homelessness and everything together. Vice magazine, a great magazine for journalism. Mm-hmm. That was amazing on Red Star Paris. But again, end of the day, money talks. So whichever club accepts it. Like United, they could have had many deals, but they've gone for Team Viewer just because it's money. They had the horrible sponsor, which was the insurance company. Yep. Funny enough, they sponsor me I insure with them for my photography. AIG.
Yeah.
But it's just it's one of those things. They were known as Aon, AIG. I don't know.
It was Aon, AIG, and then you had Chevrolet and somewhere in there. Names. I think for me, the worst United sponsor of all time was the Chevrolet one. I feel like that kit is just ugly.
But it's iconic forever.
Why?
Because it was so ugly, it was iconic.
Yeah, maybe. I guess that's a good point too. There's a lot of kits that are like you say, ugly, but people know them as like the Spoo kit. I guess is probably a perfect example. Yeah. Not sponsor related, but iconic because of how out there it is.
Let's finish this off. It's probably like a 45-minute episode.
It's gonna be long.
Sorry, we're gonna cut it up into little things. Pop up. Thank you so much to everyone for coming down. Any words?
So we sort of rejigged a few things for this pop up, and we made it very league centric. So there was no international kits. There was it was a bit of a season. Well, we called it the season launch.
Yeah.
We reshaped how the environment was, and we added obviously the activation zone with the PFC jump, and is it Mickey or Mikey?
Yeah.
How do you pronounce his name? Is it Mikey?
Mickey,
either one. He's my height. I'm like 5'8", 5'9", and he jumped 2.5 meters. That is impressive.
Mate.
I'm sorry, that is absolutely impressive. If you guys haven't seen that, jump on our socials, head to the season launch highlights, and check out the slow-mo video of him. You can only see the side on of him like clipping his beanie onto the ball. But there was guys there that were like 6'3", 6'4", that were still 20 centimeters, 30 centimeters short. And that was impressive. Aside from that, I think the pop-up was heaps of fun. Like everyone there seemed to have a sick time. Yeah. It was great. The food was awesome. The coffees are always good. And yeah, I think it's good. Like now it's just time to level it up for the next one. So we've got some work to do.
Yeah, look, I think there's a few ideas that my wife was telling me last time. I got to tell you, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
I think the pop-up was great. One thing that I loved, I was speaking to the lads at Cult Kits. They're just like, the two gentlemen that rocked up in the Nigeria, the Naja tracksuits.
Yeah.
Like, as much as they were so rude to speak to, it's just good to see people rock up, wear their jerseys, enjoy the moment, catch up with other people. I met a few people. Like, I met a gentleman from Shepparton and his partner, and they were lovely. And I just like, I'm get to meet. I actually met like 6 people from Altona region.
Yeah, wow.
Like just random kids who I never would have met, and they've come to the pop-up, and even Irish people who are traveling around Australia and they saw the pop-up, and they're like, we just wanted to come say hi. It's amazing.
That's so cool.
Why football is such a world
thing.
The
community is so good. Like even I know Justin, who he's been a customer and friend now from Sydney. He flew down.
Oh, the Liverpool guy.
He left home at 3 a.m. and got
the kid.
No. So he was on his own. He was on his own. So he flew from Sydney to Melbourne at 3 a.m. So left at home at 3 a.m. Got back home 11:30 p.m. He literally came for the pop-up.
Oh, I know exactly who you're talking about. Yeah.
That is a shift. Yeah. Like I can't thank him enough. So I really wanted to mention him on the podcast because it's all fine and good to be a kit collector and to do your thing, but that's a massive inconvenience.
Yeah, 100%.
And he's made a massive effort to come to this event, stay start to finish. He even helped pack up. And
sorry, but I have to leave early.
No, it's fine. But like that, this is the community, and I've said it I think 1,000 times over. It's quite literally the Comic-Con for people that like football. Yeah. And we're just gonna keep leveling these up each time.
Next one, September 11.
Yes.
And then October 9.
Yes, correct.
Keep an eye on October 9. There's hopefully a few things coming out.
Yeah, I think we've got some good things in the loop. We've been planning.
Eager. And
we've been planning for a
while.
while.
Best part, it's my 31st the day before, and it's your 30th the week after.
It is. It's going to be big. So we might be a little bit hungover by the time November comes around. But at least we've got the World Cup to pep us back up for that.
Hey, that's actually going to be a big one. But thank you so much for listening to this episode. Make sure to subscribe to PFC Vintage on Instagram and all other socials. Make sure to follow me on all of my socials. Make sure to subscribe to Ultra Football on YouTube. Is there anything else we need to mention?
I think that's it. I just want to say thanks. Thanks for listening. Thanks for everyone coming to the pop-up, and we'll see you guys next week.
Stay safe, stay away from stupid people, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.